And welcome back to the show. Here we are on the morning of the 21st with the moon and Venus. And here we see the moon has a considerable lead on Venus and the sun. But as we will see here shortly, as the days go by, the sun will close that gap and begin to catch up to the moon, just like it always does at this time of the moon's phase. And Venus is going to pass the moon and take off for the horizon. And just as the sun is rising here on the solstice, we have all this cloud cover off to the northeast, making the moon brighter and visible a little bit longer than it would be. See, if those clouds were not there, the moon would not be as bright. And one possible reason for the excessive heat this solstice would be that Jupiter and the sun are lining up for about a month in what is called the Cazimi. And here we are at the early morning hours of June 22nd, and we see the moon rose about 15 minutes before 3 o'clock, and Venus about 15 minutes after 3 o'clock. And the moon and Venus arcing to the south as they do, because these luminaries that are moving through our sky are never traveling in a straight path, with the sun not far behind. And as you can see how the sun, the moon, and Venus all move through the sky, suggesting that their altitude, velocity, trajectory, and size are all very similar, because they are. The sun is not 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther away. And the sun, the moon, Venus, and these other luminaries are all very clearly spiraling above our heads. And a third morning in the row of catching the moon and Venus sneaking around, we see Venus overtaking the moon in this carousel of energy that spirals above our heads. Of course, it is not a race, it's more of a dance. And you can see how the daylight is just trickling in off to the south. It's so much darker than the northeast here, which is where the sun is coming from. All that light, that daylight you just see right there is the sun announcing his arrival. And this is a good way to try and understand the difference between sunlight and daylight. At this time, the sun was over North Africa, and so we are seeing just the very extent of the sun's energy, the sun's electricity pushing through the sky and just beginning to illuminate the sky where I am. In the winter, the sun is moving as fastest through the sky and its circuits are largest. So we're out here in Capricorn in winter. This is what the sun is doing. It begins to slow down as it gains altitude and heads north until it lines up with Cancer. It's moving as slow as it will throughout the year. And then it begins to speed up, lose altitude, head south, line up with the equator on the equinox until it gets to the Tropic of Capricorn, where it is moving as fast as it will throughout the year and making its widest circuit. All right, now this first circle is the equator, and the second one is the Tropic of Cancer, and the third one is the Tropic of Capricorn. This line here is the prime meridian and the international date line, and here we have the 60th parallel, and east and west and north and south orientation, and there's our analemma. And there you have it, a 5-minute video made with an old iPhone. Seems to contain more science and actual footage of the natural world than institutions like NASA, with all of their funding and technology, have been able to provide for the people throughout the entirety of their existence. So ask yourself, why do the space agencies constantly show you cartoons? And as we see the sun go off into the distance, the moon following not far behind, starting a new cycle, the beginning of a new lunar cycle, as the daylight pulls away and the moon is left to wander the night alone. And the energies, the lights that revolve above our heads, are not some happenstance collection of random objects coincidentally within our view. These points of light and energy are meant for us to connect to, physically, spiritually. Which makes one wonder why some of the most powerful institutions in the world would go to great lengths to conceal these truths and to implant a false sense of reality into people, especially children, so they are never allowed to connect with these energies.